Hey everybody, it's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, May 3rd, 2015. Wow! Friday's show was amazing. I feel like I've been one of the only people from the very beginning liking this recast of Billy, and I feel totally justified in it after watching even just Friday's and Thursday's show. I thought the actor brought it. It was well performed. It was well written. I mean, you know, I get grumpy. I'm getting grumpy with the new writers sometimes, but not so much that I cannot give a big old round of applause when they do something right, because it was explosive. I was so just curious about what Billy's big plan was throughout Thursday and Friday's show, and the payoff was so good. It was so good. I'm so excited. I usually like to talk about every step along the way and really get into the storylines for the week, but I just want to cut to the chase on this one. Essentially, Chelsea decided to quit her job at Jabot, and since both Billy and her are unemployed now, they decide, hey, let's just throw caution to the wind, let's just be happy and get married. And so Billy and Chelsea decide to just elope, just do a quickie wedding. They go away, they have this romantic moment, romantic lovemaking scene, which, by the way, I would like to go on record right now as saying Chelsea is pregnant. She's Y&R's baby machine for one thing, and for another thing, she's slept with both Gabe and Billy in a short amount of time. Well, I don't think Y&R would have gone to the trouble of showing that if it wasn't good. If we weren't up for a who's the baby daddy storyline coming in the future. So just keep that in mind. She'll probably run off into the corner and throw up here in a scene very soon, which may be what prompts Adam to finally come forward and claim his child. I mean, we saw an incredibly dynamic scene between Adam and Billy this week where Adam pointed out, hey, you're kind of a usurper in Chelsea's life anyway. You're living in the house that Adam bought for her. You're getting ready to marry Adam's wife. You're trying to raise Adam's child. So it's kind of, to me, a little bit, I think maybe that was a little bit of a preview of the fight that we're gonna see between Adam and Billy in the future. So anyway, Billy and Chelsea go to elope. They are literally seconds from going and getting married, but Adam has gone looking for Chelsea. I think Adam and Chelsea are both trying to make sense of the amazing sex that they had what was it, last week? Yeah, I think so. Or maybe it was the week before. But Adam finds out from Anita that Chelsea has decided to get married to Billy. In some ways, she is probably trying to forget about the mistake that she perceives as having sex with this random neighbor guy, and she just wants to throw herself into her marriage with Billy and throw herself into her the future she was planning to have before Gabe came into the picture and professed his love to her. So Adam now knows that these two are getting ready to go get married, and he travels to go stop it. And in fact, he catches Chelsea in her hotel suite just as she's getting ready to go become Mrs. Billy Abbott, and they have this interaction where he's pleading with her to not, or he's making his case for her to not marry Billy. Don't make this mistake. You know, certainly he believes that she could be happier with him. I was kind of surprised that he didn't tell her the truth about his identity in that moment, because I think I keep waiting for it. I keep waiting for this big smash reveal, and instead he didn't. It was very surprising. She tells him, no, I am going to marry Billy. You need to forget about what happened between us. It was just sex. Well, you know who's standing at the door. Billy has come up looking for his bride-to-be, so happy, and what does he find? The door cracked open just a little bit, and Chelsea is in there with Gabe talking about the sex that they had. Oh, that was such a good moment. Billy basically did, like, he listened, he heard, he processed, and he did a slow backing away. Like, I mean, he could have flung open the door and been like, what? But no, Billy decided to really sit on this piece of information and blow it up when he was damn well ready. Adam leaves the room looking defeated, and Billy comes walking up into the hallway, getting ready to go into the hotel room now to what I assumed was confront Chelsea. The look on Billy's face was seething. I almost felt a little bit scared of him. There was something that read in the actor's eyes. That it was just, I felt like he was suppressing a rage that was just monumental, and it was almost even about more than what he just heard. It was like the rage of the centuries he was trying to kind of push down in himself. He walks into the room and says, "Hey, Chelsea, what you doing? I'm waiting for you, babe." I mean, pretty much, And she says, "Oh, sorry, I'm late. I'm getting ready to go down." And he tells her, "You know what? Actually, I've been thinking. Maybe we shouldn't get ready to get married right now. Maybe we should just hold off on this whole elopement idea. Let's go back to Genoa City and let's get married in front of all of our friends and all of our family. Let's make it, more inclusive. Let's include the people that we care about in our wedding." In fact, Chelsea, what I want more than anything is to give you exactly what you deserve. Oh, it was awesome. I mean, from that moment on, from Billy finding out the secret, I was hooked. I was glued. I could not wait to find out what was going to happen next in this story. I'm wondering if what we're seeing here is kind of a beginning of a dark Billy. We haven't really seen that from this actor, and we've talked about that quite a bit, since he came on the show, that the guy's kind of funny, he's kind of charming, but we hadn't really, or we didn't know what to expect from him in seriousness, in the deeper emotions. I mean, he hadn't really had a chance to show us all of his different sides yet, and I think we're going to get that now, and we certainly got an awesome taste of it this week. I mean, Billy and Chelsea go back to Genoa City, and Billy begins planning this wedding at the athletic club. He makes sure he wants to invite everybody. Oh, he wants the whole family to be there for this wedding, which he's never gonna go through with. He brings out, all the invitations. In fact, it specifically goes to Jabot to make sure that Ashley's there, that Abby's there. Once Jack there, even asks Victoria to go. I mean, Chelsea was like, "Why would we want your ex-wife at our wedding?" But Billy, he practically, going back to that scene in the lab at Jabot, Billy practically nudged Chelsea and Ashley out of the way to get up close on Victoria and invite her to this affair. Like, he wanted her to know. And in the future, I think that's going to be such a good couple. I'm totally team Billy and Victoria right now. I think they're going to be awesome together. But Billy's going around asking everybody to come, including Gabe and Sage, by the way. I mean, he's come up on Gabe, for one thing, and said, I want you to be my best man. He even asked Gabe to be his best man. He wanted to give Gabe the front row seat to whatever it was that he was planning. Oh, it's so juicy, I love it. But Gabe, by the way, was busy having crazy rough sex with Sage. He was not really ready on board to go to a wedding, and neither was Sage. I will say, just on a side note, Sage is probably pregnant now too. So it's the wedding day. By the way, Chelsea got 2 wedding dresses this week. She got one wedding dress on Thursday and another wedding dress on Friday, which is kind of fun. I really liked what she was wearing the first time. I kind of liked the slicked back hair look, and she had on this beautiful this bunch of necklaces. Like, one was this cool choker with a pearl on one side, and then she had a couple of long necklaces. I don't know, the necklaces were like beautiful. Love the hair. The second dress was pretty good too. At first I didn't like it because I didn't like the weird veil clip thing that was in the back of her hair, but after all of that fell apart, I really enjoyed the dress. I thought the dress was really pretty. I thought Billy looked good. He had this really cool little boutonniere on. I've never even seen a boutonniere like that. It was really had almost like a piece of jewelry on it, or a pin or a metal element to it, which was neat. I have to say, I really loved looking at the guests too. You know, I love the wedding fashion, and I would have been disappointed if we didn't get that, but I thought Abby looked awesome. I mean, the second she walked in that door in that super cute pink and white floral flowy dress, I was like, ooh, best thing about that character is her fashion sense. They cannot put a personality on that girl, but they can dress her up in an outfit. I am always looking at what Abby's wearing. She always looks good. I think my best dressed would have to be Jack in his stupid like polo shirt, green vest, blue plaid pants. I told you weeks ago when it dawned on me first because someone mentioned it to me about the twin. My very first indicator that we were headed in a twin direction was I noticed that Jack was wearing a sweater vest. I'm like, Jack never wears that. Jack loves his suit and tie, and it's either one thing. It's Jack is wearing a suit and tie, or he is wearing a suit with the dress shirt unbuttoned at the top. I mean, that's it's the same outfit, only with or without tie. So seeing him in his polo wear was absolutely hilarious to me. Oh my goodness, you guys. Billy as kind of this maniacal, scorned lover was everything that I needed this week. He set the stage of this so perfectly, and I'm so glad that we got to see it from his perspective and know that it was coming, because he wanted this wedding to appear perfect from the outside to everyone. All of the friends and family are there. Chelsea looks beautiful. He even makes her walk down the aisle. It was like unnecessarily cruel, but entirely entertaining. I mean, it was like the stuff drama is made of. Chelsea walks down the aisle with her mother on one side. All the friends and family are there. She comes up to the altar where the minister is, and she's kind of prepared her speech for Billy, and she's talking about the long path that they've been on, and in a lot of ways how she didn't expect for her life to be this, and she certainly never expected to find happiness with him, or at all, again probably, but what she's found in Billy is understanding and forgiveness. Oh, the irony. She gives her whole big loving speech about Billy. Billy starts launching into what you think is going to be a big loving speech about Chelsea, and he builds up the relationship like what it started out as what Billy probably would have said in his vows, if he'd never found out about Gabe and Chelsea. But man, on a freaking dime, those vows took an ugly turn, and he just lets her have it. You can feel that Billy is not just angry about the fact that she slept with Gabe, with the neighbor guy, and didn't tell him. But he's angry about the long con. He sees this as, this woman has done nothing but screw me over from the moment I met her. And so you know what? I'm gonna screw her back. And I really think that's why Billy decided to take it here. He could have just addressed it with her privately, but no, he lays it all out in front of everyone. I mean, looking at the crowd, wow, 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 wow. I mean, everybody, like mouths are agape as Billy is calling her a lying con artist slut who slept with Gabriel. I mean, he basically pushed Chelsea into the background and began addressing the crowd. It was about the performance. In fact, I mean, it was funny, like Adam is actually in the background. He had come down the stairs after just having sex with Sage, and he's sort of thinking he's gonna have to watch the woman that he loves marry another man that he hates, but instead, you know, watching his face as the vows took the turn was also incredible. The look on the crowd, like everybody had their mouth hanging open. Jack leaned forward as if he's like, "Ooh, this is getting good." I loved that. There was just this brief moment where everybody else is shocked and Jack is entertained. Oh, that was so good too. It was just, wow. Chelsea's in the background going, "Please, Billy, please, 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 please. Just, can we have a moment? Can we just talk about this privately?" And no, Billy cannot wait to tell everyone every detail. And the crowd's going, "Well, Chelsea, is it true? If it's not true, then just say so." And she can't deny it. She did just days ago sleep with Gabriel. And Billy doesn't even know any of that. He didn't bother to check in with her. We know what he heard in that conversation was enough. And she's trying to tell him it was only one time, it was only one time. Meanwhile, oh man, everybody, like Ashley was kind of big sister in that moment. She's like, "Tell us, Chelsea, you know, how could you do something like that?" Oh my goodness. Billy finishes up his big old speech. He's just like, "You know what? I'm out." He leaves the room. The crowd, it's like the ultimate humiliation for Chelsea. The crowd gets to come up to her like one by one, and the other ladies, of course, take a stab at her. Phyllis has to make a jab. Ashley has to make a jab. Anita tries to comfort her, but she doesn't want any of that. There's this moment where Chelsea is just left alone in the room of where she thought she was going to have her perfect wedding day that went completely to hell. I mean, not only did she not get the man that she loved, but that was humiliating. He did it in front of everyone. And you know what? The thing is, it was completely unnecessary. It was really good drama, but I think what also sticks with Billy here is the fact that she didn't tell him. I mean, if we think back to what the catalyst was for her sleeping with Gabe, it was Billy locking lips with Victoria at the athletic club. Chelsea saw that and she had this knee-jerk reaction. She went, she had sex with Gabe. The difference is Billy told Billy told Chelsea right away about what he had done with Victoria. He didn't hide it from her. He realized, oops, it was a mistake. I'm fighting it, at least, and I want to tell her about it so that it doesn't destroy our relationship. Well, Chelsea didn't do that. She chose to keep it a secret, and I think that's what really stuck on Billy. And I think Chelsea kind of knows this. This is her ultimate humiliation. This is her ultimate loss. She has both loved and lost more times than she cares to even count. She's standing there in complete ruin, and you know Adam can't stay away. He's the only one who loves her for who she is, and she loved Adam for who he was. I mean, Billy even said in the vows, or in his big old speech, he said, I should have known better that you know, you conned Dylan into a marriage over a baby. You tried to con me into a marriage over a baby. The one time you actually married someone for true love, it was a disgusting human being, which, by the way, was what prompted Adam to get all up involved in the service and try to defend Chelsea. And after everyone had left the room, it was Adam in there trying to comfort Chelsea. And she realizes, you know, you did this with me. This is something we created. You helped me create this mess in my life. I loved Billy. You have no idea what it feels like to love somebody and to lose them. And the look on Adam's face, it was just like, oh, really? You have no idea, woman. I love watching Adam knowing that he knows. I love watching Adam's reactions to everybody else around him talking about Adam. It's incredible. He just knows something that nobody else knows, and it's just, I love it. I love what the actor is bringing here. It took me some time to warm up to it, but I loved that performance. I loved how sensitive and tender he was with Chelsea. And after that lovemaking scene, I'm on board for Adam and Chelsea. I mean, their sex scene was so hot. I felt the chemistry so much more than I ever felt with Chelsea and the original Adam. So I cannot wait until these two are together. It's not going to be no easy path. It's not, I mean, it's going to be a while. I think this is a relationship and a story that's going to take a while to tell, and that's okay. But he's there trying to comfort her in this lowest moment, and she is so just angry that her life has exploded. She certainly wasn't planning on throwing away her life with Billy to run off and be with Gabriel just because he loves her and just because maybe she felt an attraction to him. I think Chelsea deciding to marry Billy was her trying to decide to move forward with what she already has, to be comfortable and confident in what she already has, and to not, you know, try to not rock the boat. There's no reason to rock the boat on a what if. So here is Gabriel standing there with her, trying to comfort her, and she's lashing out at him. You know, I mean, she takes responsibility for what she's done, but you know, you did this. We did this together. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I mean, Adam is constantly saying, Gabriel is constantly saying, he didn't deserve you anyway, you know, let me take you out of here. And she says, no, you stay away from me. And she runs out the door, and he's just left there standing there. I just wish he would have said, but I can't stay away from you. I haven't told you who I am yet. And May sweeps her right around the corner. Poor Faith. I mean, that kid. How many we need to talk conversations does one kid have to have in a lifetime? Nick and Sharon, for all the good that they are, and for much as I like both of them, have just, they're not great parents at this point. I mean, come on. They constantly are, you know, saying that they're putting Faith first, but what have they done to this kid? Faith cannot grow up to be a stable character. I mean, there's no way. I mean, when Faith goes from being like 8 to 18 over the course of a couple months, I think Faith has got to end up being a screwed up character. I mean, look at her parents, for crying out loud. Nick and Sharon, well, they have to tell Faith that Sharon has been accused of some really bad stuff, which no kid should ever have to even deal with. Nick's got her out in public when reporters are hounding Sharon. It's a Newman, not only is it a Newman, but it's a murder trial. It's a big story all over town, I'm sure. And this reporter gets up in Nick's face. It's so inappropriate. I mean, the reporter, first of all, mentions the murder charges in front of the small child. Nick takes him out back on the patio, and the reporter is just incredible. I mean, the things this guy was saying, like, you know, Nick tried to say, look, I'm out here with my daughter. Do you have to do this way? And the reporter's like, oh yeah, that kid, hey, are you afraid that she's gonna end up with bipolar just like her mother? Well, Nick, I mean, if we know one thing about Nick, his thing is a punchin'. I mean, Nick, it's like the core thing of his character. I mean, if there's a guy Nick will punch him. So naturally, Nick punches the reporter in response, which in my mind was completely appropriate for what the reporter was saying. It was harsh, it was horrible, but it was an event. And not only that, but Faith sees the whole thing. I mean, her life is so screwed up. Noah takes Faith out of the coffee house, and Nick, of course, is going to end up getting sued by this reporter, or of course a report is being filed. Noah ushers Faith over to Sharon's house, and Sharon tries to do her best to be the best mother that she can, and she explains things to Faith that she couldn't, possibly have done these things. And there was a really nice moment where Noah was there too, and he listened, and he overhears Sharon's explanation, and he feels reaffirmed that she couldn't have been the one to kill Austin and his fiance, which it's weird that Y&R just took the jump from, I guess, like, we never really got resolution on whether or not Noah turned Sharon in with that necklace. I'm still confused about that. Y&R threw it out there, never picked it back up, and now Noah's still standing in Sharon's living room, and now he believes that she's innocent. I don't know. I just don't know. But of course, this whole incident with Nick and the punching makes Faith need to go to a therapist. I mean, this kid is, how old is she? She's a little girl, and she's in therapy. This is not going to be good for the adult version of Faith. She goes to the therapist. She tells everything she saw, everything she feels, and the therapist decides to report it all to Child Protective Services, CPS. So, I mean, in a way, I kind of get it. The therapist doesn't need to know Nick. The therapist doesn't need to know Sharon. Faith expressed some level of fear over everything that's going on in her life, and specifically what Nick had just done, that he was violent. I mean, I know everybody rushed to judgment on the therapist, and believe me, I mean, CPS will take your kid. I mean, they will. So, and I know that there's a lot of sensitivity around this topic, but at the end of the day, if I was talking with a little girl whose mother was on trial for a double violent murder, and the father's out in public punching somebody, it might raise a little bit of a red flag for me too. I mean, so CPS gets called to this whole thing. I cannot believe it. I almost cannot believe that we are here. Do you guys remember, and maybe it's my flaw that I do remember, when Nick and Sharon were a happy couple? I mean, they always had their problems. Nick was always a cheater, and Sharon was always insecure, and she kept things from him too. But Nick and Sharon, when I was introduced to them, or in the early days at least, they just seemed like such an ideal couple. They had a great marriage, great sex, great family. Nick had his career, and Sharon was good with the kids, and now Sharon's on trial for murder, and CPS just took their child. I cannot believe we're here. It's so crazy. Gosh. Sharon is still going through her case, and she's on trial for murder. She and Dylan are getting along swimmingly. How about that cute little scene with them telling jokes to one another? I like it. I do like Sharon and Dylan. I think that they have a good friendship that I think could certainly turn into more, and I'm not going to talk about it elsewhere, but Avery and Joe. Avery's off with Joe in Chicago, and shoot, she's got her own thing going on. Dylan's got his own thing going on. They might as well just cut to the chase and break Dylan and Avery up. I don't need to know every step along the way. I'm already there. There's already enough reasons to break them up, and obviously that's the direction that it's headed. I like Dylan and Avery together, but the writing's on the wall. What can I do? So just get to it. But anyway, Dylan is the protector for Sharon. He goes to his coffee house where Nick and Victoria and Sage are all talking about this CPS thing. They had to put Faith, they took Faith away from Nick, put her in Victoria's care, and these three are just kind of discussing what was going to become of Faith and what had just happened. And Dylan overhears it. Sharon knows nothing of the CPS thing that they took her child away from Nick. So of course Dylan runs back and tells Sharon all of this, and Nick is meeting with CPS to try to explain the situation when Sharon calls the social worker and says she wants to talk with her. And the assumption on Nick's part is Sharon is going to try to paint an unhappy or an unstable picture of Nick so that Faith does get taken away from him, but that's not what happens. The social worker comes in, has a meeting with Sharon, and Sharon is very understanding. She does understand who Nick is. They apparently mentioned that yesterday was the anniversary of when Cassie died. Would have been nice to maybe see some Mariah, who, by the way, looked awesome this week. Love that little red top. She's looking good. She's fierce. I love her. Bring her back. I wish they could have taken a moment to maybe weave that in somehow, but Sharon just drops that bomb like, hey, our family's going through a lot right now. This is the anniversary of when this horrible thing happened. She kind of just gets in there and is empathetic and sympathetic to the social worker. And she's, at the end of the day, saves Nick's ass. It seemed like the social worker wasn't hearing anything that Nick said, but Sharon got in there, told her side of the story, and they decided not to take Faith away. So I'm glad that that didn't become a larger storyline. I kind of thought maybe Faith would have ended up being released into Dylan's custody, and maybe that would have created a little family unit for Dylan and Faith and Sharon, further kind of separating him and Avery, but that's not what happened. I think the whole CPS incident was mostly serving to give Sharon a good guy moment of, you know, I have a choice here where I could ruin Nick, but that's not what I want to do. I want to do the best thing for my daughter. So that's good. That's good. I guess that's all resolved. I do want to mention, just on a little side note, Victoria is her father's daughter, and I'll talk more about that later. But since Victoria has had Faith released into her custody, Victoria's kind of getting up in this situation with Nick's life, and specifically his relationship with Sage. And early in the week, it seemed like Victoria was liking Sage and kind of appreciating that she was involved in Nick's life. But as the week developed and maybe Victoria got a better assessment of the situation, she got up, you know, on Sage and tells her she needs to back off Nick. You know, it kind of gave her the vibe of maybe you shouldn't be here right now. There's a lot going on and maybe you shouldn't be here. And I just wanted to mention this because I kind of agree. I don't feel like it was, I don't think it was appropriate for Sage to be involved in, I mean, going back to, you know, weeks ago, I thought it was weird that she was hanging on Nick's side when Courtney died. I thought it, you know, at the police station after all that was going down, it was weird that she was there. It's weird that she was at the hospital or therapist's office with everything that was going down with Faith. It was weird that she was there discussing Nick's daughter's custody with Victoria. Like, I like Sage. I like Sage and Nick, but I don't think it's appropriate for her to be there. They're just dating. And of course, oh my gosh, she's working at the underground now. It's gonna be a whole new level of awkward. But I thought, like, I agreed with Victoria, but at the same time, I don't know, Victoria, I don't know, she kind of planted the seed in Sage's mind, but ultimately Nick decided to follow up on it. I guess he agreed because he goes to Sage a little bit later and says, you know, maybe we do need to keep our distance from one another. I can't do, I mean, he's almost had his child taken away from him. I can't do anything else to risk having Faith taken away from me. So he breaks up with Sage. She works with him. I mean, Sage is heartbroken. She's like, you're breaking up with me? I mean, you just hired me. I don't know if she's gonna still work there. How badly can she need that job? I don't know. Hopefully she'll be able to quit, but yeah. It was really harsh that they just broke it off. And Sage, I mean, throughout all of this, you know, throughout the scene with Victoria where Victoria was telling her to back off, throughout the scene where Nick was breaking up with her, Sage seemed crushed, but she also seemed to me to be almost too understanding. I'm starting to become a little bit suspicious of Sage. I wonder if she might be up to something, particularly now that she's all scorned. She decides to deal with her heartbreak by getting drunk, and to me that does say it hurt her. She certainly does care about Nick. I just wonder if there's more to the story. She's getting drunk because she just broke up. Adam shows up. He's getting drunk because Chelsea's getting married, and there's just this brief moment where he's really putting salt in her wound. She kind of has to admit that, you know, things aren't, you know, that she's not with Nick anymore, and Adam can't help just poking at her. I mean, you could tell she needed some human kindness in that moment, and he just couldn't help it. I mean, they're probably pretty well matched with one another, but it was so weird that it turned from like hate into Adam kissing her out of nowhere. And she pushes him off and is shocked for a moment. And then she says, you know what? All right. She lunges at him and she starts kissing him. I mean, they're right there in public. She's practically sitting on top of him. Oh my goodness. What do you guys think about all that? What do you think about the fact that they slept together? I just can't help but wonder if both Sage and Chelsea are going to end up pregnant at the same time. Chelsea's going to wonder, you know, this is so bad. Chelsea's going to wonder, is the baby daddy Billy or Adam? And Sage is going to wonder, is the baby daddy Nick or Adam? We did get another moment that we've all been waiting for this past week. Finally, Adam has his first real experience with fake Jack, and we've all been kind of speculating that Adam was going to end up blowing his cover in talking to Jack, who's the only person in town besides Sage that really knows his secret. So Adam did go to Jack as soon as he found out about all of the craziness that's going on at Jabot, and particularly Chelsea getting fired, but he doesn't blow the whole secret. He does manage to let little leaks of his secret out. He says something it was just so good. Like, it was so clear that Adam and Jack have had this relationship where they hold a lot of each other's secrets, not just now, but certainly in the past. And oddly, they're two men that for the most part have been pretty honest with each other. There's sort of a camaraderie among scoundrels. And so as soon as Adam approaches Jack and can tell that there's a wall up there, that Jack isn't really acting like Jack, and he's not really willing to discuss any of the things that they have been conspiring about, Adam is immediately, he looks at Jack and he says, "Are you high?" Which I totally got. That made me laugh so much because I mean, you would think that Jack is on drugs. This severe of a personality change, he's got to be on something, and I would think that Phyllis, of all people, would be the first one to detect that. She's just got, like, I don't know, she's got sex dust on her or something. She can't see anything with all the sex happening and just flying at her. Sex is just flying at Phyllis. She can't see anything. But Adam does end up letting slip to Jack that he says something like, you know as well as anybody that I'm not really a Bingham. So it's something that sort of at least is a little bit of a breadcrumb. You know, fake Jack immediately goes right to Victor and tells him all of this. It's so interesting because we're seeing so much conflict between Victor and fake Jack, and there was this little moment where fake Jack is trying to justify the fact that he didn't dig any deeper into what Gabriel was saying, happening, but also in general trying to justify his the way he's playing Jack's life, saying to Victor that, look, you didn't just hire me because I have Jack's looks. You also hired me because I'm a good con man. I mean, essentially saying I'm able to, you know, con with the best of them. And I want us to keep that in mind for just a second, because I think this fake Jack is more than just a face. This guy's got something up his sleeve. He also had, just by the way, this is so random, but did you guys notice the gross armpit stain that Jack had during that scene at the house with Victor? It was so gross. I thought, Y&R, that is so unlike you. I don't think I've ever seen a gross armpit stain. I mean, like, Peter Bergman was just sweating. I mean, he must have been really giving it. And he would have to, surely. I mean, this role is so different and it's so big and it requires so much more. I mean, fake Jack requires so much more energy, I'm sure, than regular Jack. And so he's just like sweating in the scene. Y&R, give the guy a new shirt. Like, be like, cut. And then wardrobe, come in, give the guy a new shirt. It was gross. Did you notice it? Anyway, Victor is now, he's got his little ears up. He's decided, you know what? The truth is that Gabriel Bingham guy, there's something up with him and I don't feel right about. I'm going to keep him close. So Victor's working on getting close to Gabriel and he's not going to like what he finds out. But now, on a kind of separate note, but I think it might be related, Michael is working on Sharon's case. He is getting that tire iron retested, and the results come back and he finds out that there's trace amounts of latex on the tire iron, and the latex apparently might be there if someone had taken, I guess, a latex mold or something of Sharon's fingerprints and placed them on the tire iron. Well, we know that Victor's been dabbling in fingerprints lately. Is that a connection? We also saw this, like, Paul has this lead at the police, or Kevin decides to go back to the police station to find out what it was that Courtney found out before she died. And Paul catches him and says, well, I already know what it is that Courtney found before she died. And they come up with this still photo of Sharon going into into Summer and Austin's apartment just hours before the murder. Well, Kevin is thinking, this is odd, it doesn't seem right, and he ends up putting two and two together, that the timestamp on the photo is fake. Like, basically, whatever it is, this evidence that Paul now has that he's telling Kevin places Sharon, in additional suspicion. It's a fake piece of evidence, so whoever put it there is someone on the inside. Okay, well, whatever. I'm wondering, why would Paul tell Kevin anything? I mean, the last time I checked, Kevin's still suspended from the police force. So in my mind, I keep thinking that Paul knows what's going on. I think Paul, I can't get it out of my head that I still think Courtney and Austin are alive. I know we all know that the actor who plays Austin is still totally on contract. He's still totally in the opening credits. Shoot, I can't remember who told me, maybe a couple people told me, that the actress who plays Courtney is technically off the show, or that she's confirmed that she's left. I don't know, I just don't buy it. I think they're both still alive, and I think that Paul is in on it. I feel like they're faking Courtney's death to flush out who the real murderer is, and I think that Paul planted that seed with Kevin on purpose, and he's watching what Kevin does with the information. He's watching how the information disseminates against the rest of the group. It just seems odd to me that Paul would reveal a major piece of evidence on a murder trial to a guy who he doesn't trust. It just seems odd to me. Plus, I'll also note that, if you remember a couple weeks ago, that Paul and Victor had this run-in at the athletic club where Paul seemed to make some sort of implication that he knew or suspected that Victor was somehow involved in this whole murder mystery. And Victor seemed taken back by it at the time, and he even mentioned it to somebody else, that Paul kind of accused him of being involved in that whole case. I don't know what level of involvement Victor might possibly have. I don't know what motivation Victor might possibly have other than the fact that he hates Sharon. He would certainly have access to her fingerprints in order to frame her for it. Kind of where I'm leaning now. Like look, again, I still think these kids are alive, but I'm sort of wondering if fake Jack is maybe somehow involved in the murder of Austin. Or I mean, like, we know somebody out there wanted this whole documentary that Austin was doing to not come out. Could that have been fake Jack? Remember, we have that still from the park where Jack was in the park with Austin. I'm just kind of wondering if maybe fake Jack somehow didn't want this documentary to come out so that it didn't spoil his sweet ride and everything he's got going on with Victor. So maybe somehow fake Jack tried to kill Austin, and maybe they tricked him or something. I just kind of feel like I don't even know. I think Austin and Courtney could still be alive, and I think fake Jack could possibly be dangerous and somehow involved in the murder or trying to murder, and maybe he got duped somehow. Because we also have been, I got the vibe last week that fake Jack also has some kind of larger plan that goes beyond having fun with Jack's toys and partnering up with Victor. I get the impression that fake Jack has some kind of plan to one-up Victor, and I wonder if that could somehow be part of it. I don't know, but I'm also wondering if there's any chance that Victor knows that fake Jack was somehow involved in the whole murder thing, and maybe Victor is trying to plant or trying to deflect attention away from himself and attention away from fake Jack, who is Victor's little pet, by placing Sharon's fingerprints on the tire iron and making it look like she did it. I don't know. My head is spinning. I need to go take a nap now. Peter Bergman as fake Jack is awesome. He's just awesome. I love it. I love seeing this side of Jack, in quotes. I love that fake Jack bought a new $400,000 Ferrari this week. That is so appealing to me. I love that he's walking around in golf attire. I love that he's doing all of these weird things, and he's got this whole laid-back attitude, and he's sort of living this fast lifestyle. I wish Y&R, why, couldn't they have just given us at least one shot of fake Jack in this flashy Ferrari? You're the Young and the Restless. You can't do one location shot at a dealer and just show Jack inside the car with Phyllis. You don't even have, you could even fake it. You could show the car and then do a fake inside the car scene or something. That would be exciting. It would just be sweet to me. I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not rich. I sort of like the idea that these people are insanely, overwhelmingly, unnecessarily rich, that they just have $500,000 to go spend on a flashy vehicle. And to me, that's kind of something I want to see. The Ferrari thing is very exciting to me, and I wish it would have happened. You know, the other thing though, again, I've been really critical of the whole twin storyline. I really think we didn't need it. It's really not necessary. Y&R could easily have explained all of this by saying that Jack got a bump on his head and he is acting erratically and partnering with Victor and all that because he's got a bump on his head. It didn't have to be a twin. I mean, that's why I kind of wonder if they got more planned for this fake Jack than meets the eye, because it would have been totally believable and maybe even possibly more interesting if Jack had bumped his head and had this crazy personality change that made him do all of these different things. And I just think that almost could have been more interesting. I don't know how it's all gonna come out. I did enjoy this week that Nikki and Phyllis were trying to team up a little bit to find out what Jack's end game is, because certainly Nikki is noticing that there are odd changes in Victor's behavior, and everyone is noticing that there are odd changes in Jack's behavior. The fact that Jack Abbott would remove himself from Gibeau, that he would not care what's happening with his father's company, is absurd. The real Jack would never choose to go golfing while Victor Newman is roaming the halls of his father's company. It's not even logical. The only one who really seems to be fighting it is Ashley, and she's so alone in this battle, and she looks so good in that black dress with like the diamondy stuff all over. Oh, she just looks so good this week, and she's fighting so hard. She's fighting on every level. She has to fight against Jack, she has to fight against Victor, but most importantly, she has to fight against Victoria. Victoria versus Ashley is so great. I love Ashley. Y'all know I love Ashley. I love seeing this vicious and almost desperate side of her, but still really strong. And oh my goodness, I am so into Victoria right now. I don't think I have been this into Victoria and I don't know how long. I love her so much. I love her, and not like I love her, but I love seeing this character. I don't know why it's so cold and it's just so right. And maybe it's I don't know. I certainly, if you've probably known someone like her, right? If you've ever worked in a corporate environment, you know this woman. She has like no human emotions whatsoever. She's all about business. She doesn't care about you. I mean, this week she pretty much told Ashley to go get her a cup of coffee. She might as well have. I mean, there's just no empathy whatsoever. And I've worked with women like this, and it's so nice to be able to watch it from the outside and be entertained by the bitchiness, but not have to be on the receiving end of it. I feel awful for Ashley. Victoria kills Hex. She decides to pull the plug on the whole thing. I mean, it's so weird that nobody else is noticing or putting together that this is not a merger. It is clearly a hostile takeover. Ashley has no say in what's happening at Gibeau anymore. It's all Victoria's show, and I just love it. I just love it so much. I can't wait until her and Billy get back together, if that happens. I think that this version of Billy and this crazy cold Victoria are just gonna work together so perfectly. I don't even know why. I didn't even think I could love Victoria this much. I love her ice cold delivery. I love her like power woman business attire. Y&R. They pulled a little stunt this week and showed us, I don't know what it was. I think it was like at the end of Tuesday's show. They showed us a preview of Wednesday's show, and in the preview was Billy going in to rescue Jack. I was like, what? I mean, my head was spinning. I thought, okay, so and it also had Kelly saying to Victor, or no, Victor said to Kelly, I sent you a special delivery or something or other. I don't know. And basically it led us to believe that Victor somehow sent Billy to wherever real Jack is being held. And I thought, oh my gosh, is Billy gonna get trapped there too? What's gonna happen? And then no, Y&R totally faked us out. It was a dream sequence. Man, I was so excited from that space, you know, like at the end of Tuesday's show, at the beginning of Wednesday's show, or wherever it was. I was so excited that maybe somebody was gonna discover real Jack, and they got you to tune in though, didn't they? I mean, shoot, they're probably like really wanting to get their ratings up, so they're using dirty tricks to get you to tune in. I would have tuned in anyway. You didn't have to trick me, Y&R. So Real Jack, is still tied to the bed. Kelly is still there, holding him hostage. Only the special delivery that Victor really sent to Kelly was revealed a little bit later. Kelly comes up to Jack, and she basically Jack is having this dream of Billy rescuing him, and Kelly comes to him and says, no one's gonna rescue you. No one's coming for you. No one's even looking for you. You wanna know why? Because you're dead, sweetheart. And she hands him these newspaper clippings that Victor obviously doctored, and it says, whatever, Jack Abbott missing at sea. Apparently, he was on his honeymoon, and he and his bride went off for a midnight sail and never to be heard from again. And so he realizes, it plants a seed of doubt in his mind that nobody is looking for him. But then Kelly just really twists the knife even more and says, Phyllis also died in this accident. I'm sorry, but your love of your life is dead. It was just cruel on top of cruel. She can kidnap the man, keep him tied to a bed, brutalize him, and tell him that not only does his family think he's dead, but the woman he loves is dead. It's just, I didn't know this of Kelly. I did not ever know this side existed in her. I don't know how Y&R is ever going to bring her back from this level of Patty. She can never be a stable character again. How could they possibly redeem her? I mean, Katie McCain is bringing it. I will give her that. I mean, she is like doing the best she possibly can. It's a hokey story. It's dumb. It is dumb and cruel, but she's selling it. She's wearing it. I mean, I kind of get the impression that maybe she might be a stage actress or something, because everything she does is so big and it's so just over the top and almost comical. But I feel so awful for Jack right now. I mean, he lashes out at Kelly, saying it wouldn't matter if Phyllis was dead. I still will pine for her every day. She's the one I will want every day. It will never be you. You can leave me here to die. If Phyllis is dead, then I don't even want to live. End the torture, just kill me. And Kelly's so just awful and says to him, well, we'll see how much you want to die when I leave you here to starve. And then she leaves. I can't even wrap my brain around who this person is, and I just feel so wretched for Jack. I mean, again, Peter Bergman, he's bringing it on both levels. The man can act his butt off and just grab at my heartstrings all while he's tied to a bed. I mean, he can't even he can't even get up and walk around to deliver this stuff. I mean, he's just so good, and I just feel Jack's desperation. I know I'm probably alone on this one, but I gotta respect a guy who has the guts to wear a white dinner jacket. Kyle asks Summer out to this fancy romantic evening. I don't know why. I love this Kyle. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I don't like who he is. It's sort of similar to a Victoria's, like how I like Victoria. I would never want to be friends with either of them, and especially not Kyle. I mean, he was so not even someone I would want on my radar, but watching him is entertaining to me. I love the suaveness. I love the snootiness. That just totally works. He is completely in love with Summer. He's got his eyes set on her. He arranges this private dinner in the upstairs of the athletic club. We're getting to see that rooftop bar again in all its beautiful lighted beauty. It's beautiful lighted beauty. And he has arranged a meal to be prepared by some fancy TV chef, and he has a musician flown in or something to play music for them, and he's bought her this incredibly expensive looking jewel necklace. I mean, with diamonds for days. He has asked it's obviously been specifically designed just for Summer. He asked for the jewels specifically to match her eyes. So elaborate. Wow. And Summer's sitting there feeling completely uncomfortable by this lavish attention. It's very different from the reasons that she fell in love with Austin. He was someone of humble means. She couldn't even buy the guy a tie, for crying out loud, let alone all of this expensive stuff. And I think for the first time, Summer really sort of felt what Austin must have felt like when she was doing that to him, or when she was trying to buy him things, and she started to feel so guilty. And I think guilty for what had happened with her relationship with Austin, maybe guilty for trying to move on too quickly, but she completely freaks out, and she just tells Kyle, I guess she breaks up with him. She just says, this can't keep going on. You know, this is not me. I don't know when you became this person. It was right around the time they recast the character, but I don't like it. This isn't what I want. You should take these lavish gifts and give them to someone who can appreciate them. And it was kind of sad. It was weird because I thought, is this supposed to make Kyle look bad to me? Because it doesn't. I still enjoyed him. And in some ways, I just don't think Summer's blameless. I feel like the character's always being played as so victim-y, while she participated in the relationship with Kyle just as much as he did, and in some ways she kind of led him on. She was involved with him. She was dating him, and maybe it wasn't such a good idea to start dating Kyle a month after your husband was found murdered. You know, you're complicit in that as well. I just don't have empathy for Summer. She's just not someone that I can connect with, and I think I can only connect with Kyle because I think he's interesting to watch. Kyle is distraught over the fact that Summer just dumped him. He goes downstairs and runs into fake Jack, who hands him the keys to the fancy Ferrari. Loved that moment, and Kyle seemed to appreciate it. I think there was I think it speaks to who Kyle's character is. Maybe he is cold. Maybe he is calculating. Maybe he did have something to do with, you know, with this whole murder storyline, for all I know, because the flash in his eye as he grabbed the keys to that $400,000 Ferrari said, hey, Summer who? He takes it off for a spin. Hey, maybe fake Jack and snooty new Kyle are a match made in heaven. Maybe Kyle isn't actually Jack's son. Maybe this new Kyle is actually fake Jack's son. He's a double too. Everyone in town has a twin. Gwen came back this week. We haven't seen her in a couple of months, and we really haven't seen her since since anything went down with Devon and Hilary, and since Neil found out about their affair. But Gwen comes back onto the scene this week, and she first talks with Neil, and Neil assumes that she was completely in on the whole plan to dupe him into thinking he had this devoted wife and devoted son that were helping him through the hardest time of his life, and all of that got blown to hell, and he assumed that Gwen had something to do with it too. And Gwen, you know, tells all to Neil and says, I'm sorry, it kind of started out with me trying to help him, but to help Devon. I thought he was gay. I thought I was just helping out, but I fell in love with him. I started having feelings for him, and frankly, it was Hilary who set the whole thing up in the first place. It was Hilary who asked me to date Devon to fool you. Well, the light bulb kind of goes off in Neil's head, and he realizes that, you know what? Maybe Devon was the one that really got duped here. Maybe Devon was the one who got sucked into manipulative Hilary's game, and not the other way around. Now, that's not exactly true, but it fits the storyline that Neil has going on in his mind right now. Manipulative wife destroyed his life and his relationship with his family. We know that Devon was complicit in the whole thing. Their affair was going on long before that, but it was an interesting moment of Neil realizing that, and maybe the first bridge to Neil realizing that he could possibly have a relationship with Devon, that he could possibly forgive Devon. Hilary, not so much. In fact, Neil sees Hilary and Devon coming down the stairs together, and he should have been extremely upset to even see those two together again after everything they did. But he said something to Devon to indicate, look, I know it's not you. I mean, you could tell that Neil is starting to have a little bit of sympathy for Devon, you know, thinking he got tricked too. But the real truth is Devon was complicit. He was just upstairs with Hilary. Hilary has only recently told Devon the whole truth about everything that she was doing, that she was trying to pull away from their relationship and lie to him in order to save Devon and save Neil. I mean, in Hilary's version of the story, she's sacrificing herself to save Devon and to save Neil. And furthermore, Hilary confesses to Devon that she still loves him. She's still in love with him. She still misses and pines for the life that they wanted to have together. I mean, and Devon's reaction to hearing all this has got to be the moment that Devon has dreamed of for all of these months. Hilary was happy, you know, last he knew, she was happy with him. They were devoted to one another. They were the loves of each other's life. And then Hilary just flipped it and she was vicious toward him. How many nights did Devon lie in bed wishing that that wasn't true? Wishing that Hilary was just lying and that they could be together again. So him hearing this has got to just be the best thing he's heard in ever. And of course, Hilary wants to be back with him, he wants to be back with her, and they gravitate toward one another and they have this kiss. I was a little surprised. There was a part of me that thought Devon was going to throw up at least a little bit of resistance, but apparently the pull of Hilary is far too strong, and the pull of their relationship, the chemistry that they share. They begin to kiss. I was feeling it. I was right there in the scene with both of them. I think for the very first time, I felt like this can happen. You know, this is not based on a lie. And in fact, Hilary pulls out of the kiss to tell Devon, wait a minute, I think we're moving too fast. If you know, I want to be with you, make no mistake about it, but I want it to be right this time. I want us being together to be the right thing. And I kind of felt that too. Like, let's back up. This relationship was just set ablaze. And there was that naughty element there that made it not okay. But now, if these two people can actually just be together, they're not lying to anyone, they're not lying to each other, the flame is there, and it's not going to take much to set it ablaze again. So I'm kind of looking forward to Hilary and Devon 2.0, like getting a chance to re-experience them without the lie tainting everyone. So I think that'll be good. I also think what's going to be good is the fact that Victor and Fake Jack, of course we all know that means Victor, decided to bring Neil into the new company, Newman Abbott, as it should be. I mean, he's been in the business storylines forever. There's no reason why he should be sitting on the sidelines. Get Neil up in there. That needs to happen. So Neil goes to have this meeting and he accepts a position at the new company as the CFO. And you know who he's going to be working with? Come on, both Hilary, by the way, and Gwen work at this company. Gwen works in accounting. I mean, CFO, I think, would have some level of interaction with the accounting department. Of course, everybody would. But I'm almost kind of wondering if Gwen and Neil are going to start having a relationship. I'm not sure. But I enjoyed that Neil informing Gwen made Gwen completely disdained for Hilary. I mean, Gwen's just now learning the truth about their affair and putting two and two together about it all. I'm kind of hoping that we'll see a new and its own set of drama happening around Neil at the new company. I want to see Neil and Hilary and Gwen working together. Neil maybe making things a little bit difficult for Hilary, and maybe Hilary and Gwen making things a little bit difficult for each other. The cliffhanger for last Friday's show was Michael collapsing, and he ends up in the hospital. He was just dehydrated, and he's been, skipping his appointments and not taking care of himself. So he's fine for the most part, but he didn't even want to tell Lauren. It was shoot, who the heck was it? Somebody else had to end up calling Lauren. I don't know if it was Sharon or Dylan or somebody, but he's blocking her out. His wife wants to be there for him. Your husband's your husband has cancer, is in the hospital. She wants to be there for him. She wants to comfort him. And, you know, he sees her show up at the hospital despite the fact that he didn't want her to know. And he's annoyed. He's annoyed by the fact that she's there. And in fact, he goes on to tell her that he's feeling suffocated. He didn't want her to know about any of this because he feels like she's treating him as if he's an invalid, which I haven't seen. And also, I think he's ultimately just trying to give her a chance to get out of this marriage. I think he is pushing her away so that she has an excuse to go off. And if she is going to abandon him, then he wants to be in control of how that goes down. He tells her he wants a separation, and she clearly doesn't want it. I do feel like the Lauren and Kane thing has some real potential, but I'm just starting to feel devastated by what's happening in Lauren and Michael's relationship, and I want it to be fixed now. I don't understand it. There were a million different ways that this storyline could have potentially gone, but I kind of feel like Y&R is not doing a real good job of showing me Michael's process. I feel annoyed by Michael. I feel mad at him for pushing her away, and I kind of, at this exact stage, am gonna feel mad at Lauren if she lets it happen. I mean, I almost think like Michael's doing this as a test. You know, he's almost trying to test her love and test her ability to stick with him. And I know he's going through something incredible. I mean, and obviously he deserves some slack for that. What he's going through is just intense and hard, and I'm sure he's emotionally and physically and spiritually exhausted all the time. But I don't feel like I've connected with him throughout the process. Y&R will touch on this storyline once every week, just a little bit, and it's too important. I mean, Michael and Lauren separating out of the blue? This is too important. The relationship is too important to me for Y&R to just be glossing over this. Okay, you guys, I unfortunately have to get going. My to-do list is far too long today, and I've spent far too much time probably talking about Y&R, but it was a good week. I really appreciate all your comments. Trust me, I heard them all. I've listened, I've read. I appreciate so much you guys giving me your feedback, and with this week being so explosive, I have a feeling that you're gonna have a lot to say too. So please feel free to leave me some comments. You can go to my call my voicemail at 309-588-4569, or you can go to yrchat.com. You can leave comments there. You can also find YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and all that directly from there, and you can leave comments in all of those places. I totally read, and I love hearing what you guys have to say, and it definitely influences me. So keep them coming. All right, you guys, I love you. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Bye.